Okay, well, Julio Barrenzuela, but say it how you're supposed to say it, because I think I just butchered that.
Well, it's right, because in English it would be Barrenzuela, in Spanish, Barrenzuela.
Barrenzuela.
Oh, yeah, and you got the R.
I do, because I'm half Hispanic.
Latino.
I was born Jose Antonio Ramirez.
Jose Antonio Ramirez.
I was.
Oh, nice.
And then I changed to Tony Stang, and that's a whole story for a whole nother time. But yes, I am Jose Antonio Ramirez.
Me gusta, me gusta.
Okay, see. Okay, so we have Julio here, and he spent some time as a Navy chaplain.
No, the
Chaplain
chaplain
assistant. Sorry,
right.
Navy chaplain assistant, a motivational speaker. You do work in justice.
I like that, yeah. It all splices together.
It all splices together. But you're a proponent for the Latin culture, and you are the salsa ambassador.
That's correct, Tony.
I
Mr.
love
Ramirez.
it. Yeah. Okay, so make sure you put your mic up, and we'll start off with a little lightning round just to get some conversation going. Does that sound good?
That's good, yeah.
Okay.
Thank you.
The song that instantly gets people moving.
The song that gets people moving.
Yeah, as the salsa ambassador.
It's funny, but I would say for that one, it's merengue. It's suavemente.
Suavemente.
Yeah, but suavemente.
Oh, suavemente. Are you gonna teach me how to dance by the end of this?
You know, I think it can happen. Yes.
In my mind, I'm a really good dancer. In reality, it doesn't play out. Okay, so what was that? Suavemente?
Suavemente.
Okay. Best dance advice you've ever received?
I think it was a lady who, when I first started in my career, she told me to really just enjoy the moment. You know, and that's something that I carry with me a lot. It was just, you know, she was in her wheelchair, you know, so she was just enjoying herself as she was able.
Okay.
And, you know, it really flipped everything. So everything that I do, you know, I do it to just enjoy that moment as I'm able.
Okay. The type of dancing that you don't like.
Type of dancing.
Yeah, is there a type of dancing that you're just not fond of?
Oh, do I have to have some avarice to it? Like, I mean, because I think that, again, I appreciate everybody enjoying their own dance. I think for me, a dance that I watch that I just can't understand would probably be like, it's a hard one, because I think the minute I mention it, I might just start having.
Okay, so we could pass that.
You know,
You say
yeah, I'll get.
you want
let
to
me
be
get back to that.
diplomatic. I totally get that.
Because it's not that because I know if I don't.
It's not that you don't like it. It's just that you don't understand it.
And let me say, within the world of music, because I do presentations where I let people know that, you know, this is the music I like and I enjoy.
Yeah.
You know, and I'm not asking you to like my music. I think the idea is just that there are songs and styles that you can appreciate.
Yeah.
There are some that you participate in, and those are two different things for me. Like, I can appreciate you doing that. It's not for me.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. I received that. All right. What's the most unforgettable night of salsa dancing that you've had?
Oh man.
Last night?
Oh, well, thanks for allowing me to show up a little late. It was a good night. But no, I think the best type of dance nights that I've been to
Yeah.
are like Levitt. And I'm not just throwing that
Really?
out there. Yes, because you have a group of people that there's a mutual interest to be there, obviously, right? So they're exposed already, they're predisposed to the idea that I'm here to have a good time, whether it's enjoying the music or dancing to the music. But what I've noticed year after year, and especially in moments where people, when they come to the stage, is it's multi-generational. It's, you know, people from different parts of the community actively engaged in a moment that's not going to be able, it couldn't be replicated. You couldn't pay those people to be there. You couldn't try to, you know, invite them to, you know, be able to capture this moment ever again.
Yeah.
So the fact that it's naturally happening, and I get to see something like that, and I say, for a city like Springfield, I don't think there's another medium that could have been created. And if you want to focus then as a scientist and go, man, what kind of data can we get from that?
Right.
That's my best style of music. My best moments, my best dances, my best environments were People are generally engaging, allowing themselves to be vulnerable, and they're dancing with people they've never met. And most likely it's never going to happen again the same way. So the best what we can do is say, let's capture that moment, let's appreciate that moment, and how can we, make it sustainable within the context of what we're developing. And that's why I was always very happy to be part of Levitt.
That's beautiful, man. I love that. Levitt Amp. Okay, Levitt. Next question, last little lightning round.
Okay.
What's one misconception that people might have about the Latin culture?
Well, I think generically, obviously, I think an easy answer would be that everyone thinks we're Mexican, right? That's something that I've heard over the years.
Guatemala, El Salvador, and Mexico are three very different places.
Yes, there are 21 Spanish-speaking countries, and as I get a chance to travel more, I see that it's not just the way they speak the language, which would be their dialect and their accent. I think it's the whole food difference, the music difference, sometimes the aesthetics, and
the tamales from El Salvador and the tamales from Mexico, night and day difference. One's potato, one's corn nut. Those are two different cultures there.
Yeah, and so the one thing that I come to appreciate in my profession is I actually lean on, look, it's not as easy as just learning how to speak Spanish and being able to operate within all of those. However, though they all have their different folkloric dance and culture, the one thing that they can all oftentimes agree on is dancing suavemente. And that's the one thing that you dance it in this country and then you go to the other one. If you know how to do it here, you can very much.
If you know how to salsa in one culture, you know how to salsa in another.
That's true, and it's a shared mutual understanding.
Okay, dude, I like that. I love that answer. That salsa dancing is it's so transferable to different countries. That's beautiful. Okay, so you are the salsa ambassador. Can you explain to people what that means?
Yeah.
And how you fell into that? Is this a self-appointed title, or is this what's going on here?
Well, when I came back from the military, from the Navy,
okay,
I had this idea of, I need to go back to. I was living in Italy, and I was on a ship, and we were traveling constantly. We were going to another country. Today would be in Italy. By tomorrow, we're a couple of days we're in France. Then we're in Spain. We're Gibraltar. We're in Casablanca. The one thing that was consistent, though, for me, was that I could ask the taxi driver to take me to a salsa club. So as far, I could go see the museums, I could go learn about their culture, but then at the end of the night, a salsa club, please. And there was a salsa club in every one of those countries, right? And I was just like, this is the most diplomatic thing I can think of, because I was on a ship, actually, it was a diplomatic ship, and they would have dignitaries come on. So while they were having their dignitary type of functions, I was having mine, which is dancing, to salsa and merengue and bachata without knowing how to speak Russian, Romanian, Bulgarian, Ukrainian, and like all of those languages that I was in. So when I came back from that experience, I was like, if there's one thing that I can share with people in Springfield was, hey, you can travel the world, and as long as you have this one thing, you will feel like you don't feel disconnected from what's going on. So as I approached graduating college, and I thought what my profession would be, because I was studying marketing, is I wanted to market this idea that I'm not the king of salsa, I'm not the salsa instructor, I'm not the champion of salsa. I wanted to be someone that kind of opened that door in that segue to letting people know, hey, if I show you something, I think you can then come into this world of salsa, which is where I hang out in. And so I became the invitation to the world of salsa for many people, especially those who wouldn't have a chance to have learned it. I go to places where they normally don't salsa.
What's the salsa spot here in Springfield?
Oh.
Do we have a salsa spot?
It's funny that in the hometown
it's not Xochimilco, right? Like after 9 p.m.
No, it's arguably not a physical place right now.
Okay.
So no one has said, I want to start a salsa club in Springfield. that has been asked of me oftentimes, but because I was living in LA for many years,
Yeah.
and also because it goes against my personal philosophy of my work, because I travel to invite people to the world of salsa. I don't invite people to come to my salsa club. Those are
Okay.
two different things.
Okay.
So as much as I could have
Yeah.
started a business around it, a Friday night like last night, it would have been different if I didn't have to go somewhere else. I could have just stayed in Springfield if I had my club.
Yeah.
But for many years, I think it has become almost like a Springfield tradition for Latin music is to have an organization. Currently, it's the Hispanic Women of Springfield who kind of host it, and they choose a restaurant every month to have a salsa night at. So if you
Really?
if you follow them, they'll be like, it's at this restaurant this month, at that restaurant. So it's traveling. So it's not a fixed location right now.
Okay.
It's just if you enjoy Latin music, you
Yeah.
can go to different places. But there's a bigger scene being created actually around Peoria, because they're having young people actually want to create these salsa classes, salsa
Yeah.
lessons, and it's sometimes Friday, Saturday, and Sunday
Yeah.
of every week compared to our once a month.
Wow. You know, I have this image of you probably hadn't seen it because you're probably more important than like more your times. Along Came Polly with with Ben Stiller, and he's like doing the dance.
Yeah.
I love that you just did that, and you did it so good too. Even when you dance bad, you dance good.
Man.
That was smooth, man.
Well, actually, the part of that theme scene was not just the moves, right? It was the confidence that he had in doing it.
Okay.
Right. I think that's what Hector was. That his name?
Yeah,
The guy
yeah,
who
yeah.
filmed? I think the idea of allowing yourself to, more importantly than anything, just have that confidence to do it.
Yeah.
And that's actually the work that I do. I go to people who are telling themselves, I can't do this. And I consider that a self-imposed limitation. Some people obviously have physical limitations, so they're in a
Sure,
wheelchair. And I go to visit them and tell them that, you can dance from up,
Sure.
waist up. But more importantly, it's the people that are overthinking. And so my goal is to just teach them this one thing is, look, no matter what's happening on the dance floor, they're all following the same rule, which is they're dancing ideally on the beat, which is 1, 2, 3,
Yeah.
5, 6, 7. So even if you don't want to dance right now, you can be like, I don't dance 5, 6, 7. Okay. But if you're doing this or whatever you're doing, do it to the beat. So it would be 1, 2, 3, 5, 6, 7. That is what distinguishes someone who is just doing some moves, right?
Yeah.
And they're like, I don't care.
Yeah.
But even the people that,
Find that.
as long as I can watch you do it, and I can, as someone who understands what's going on, they can be like, look, that guy, he did it to
I
the
think
beat.
we're going to try this after the show. We're going to have some exclusive clips. I think that's going to be fun. But I do have, okay, so why do you think so many adults so myself, are afraid of looking foolish when they dance? Like I am, and when you think about it, dancing, like it really is just like this freedom, and like there's it's a movement, right? And whether you do it good or poorly, I think everyone can appreciate someone out there enjoying themselves. But philosophically, I know that. Practically, I'm like, I'm not on the dance floor, man. I'm that Hitch. You know where Hitch was? He's like, he was teaching them how to dance. That's where I'm at. Just even then, I can't.
Oh,
even
you
do
were
it.
Hitch's client.
Oh yeah.
Well, there's a lot to be said, obviously, human development.
Yeah.
But I can tell you, because I've been doing this for over 20 years.
Yeah.
Right.
Like in your experience.
In my experience, what keeps people from doing is obviously what they're, I'm gonna either look this,
Yeah.
but what I have found, what it truly sometimes is they haven't given themselves permission. So what I do is one of the presentations, whether there's a big difference when I go to a nursing home, for example, and then I'm also at a high school on the same day.
Yeah.
Because those are two different types of moments. In a retirement home, you have people that really want to participate and dance, but they're now in physically unable to do it to the degree that they wish they could.
Yeah.
Right? They can't get out of their wheelchair anymore. So the days where they can try to look stupid and shake it.
Yeah.
It's almost like they're saying to themselves,
I wish I would have done it.
exactly.
Yeah.
But at a high school, you have kids who can physically do it, and now their limitation is in here or in here. So one of the first lines that I tell everyone is, I say, look, you don't have to dance. You get to dance. And
I like that.
that really changes the context of me being there. I'm here. I mean, I'm not here to teach you how to dance the same way a comedian wouldn't teach you how to laugh.
Yeah.
I'm here to just create an environment, a moment for you to naturally move. And that movement is either going to be a physical movement, mental movement, or an emotional movement. Otherwise, what I'm saying is the music will either make you think about something
Right.
and get you moving, bring back memories, or it'll bring back a feeling, or it'll bring back a move. So I can rely that if one of those three things happen, then you've participated in this. And that is, from my perspective, that is the dancing.
What is it? You said three things it's a physical.
It's either going to be
mental-
physical movement, emotional movement, or physical movement. And
Okay.
everybody thinks that dancing is, at the end, physical movement. And if
Yeah.
I judged my presentations as the only way you could have danced is if you were on this dance floor moving,
Yeah.
then I'm denying the fact that that lady that was sitting there was also in her own way dancing.
Yeah.
It was just happening in here,
Yeah.
or it was happening in here. So the minute that I have no judgment in terms of what dancing looks like, I can tell you is, one is people have a sense of fear of, if I get on this dance floor compared to others, am I going to look stupid? And one of the things that I let people know is that everyone has their own way of doing it as long as they're doing it to the beat. And that's from beginning to end, all I ask of my people, of my audience is, if I go 1, 2, 3, it's 5, 6, 7 is the response. So it's 1, 2, 3.
5, 6, 7.
That is the same thing that when I came to this country, I learned that give people just enough confidence and it can build from there. Like I had to learn how to speak
I
English.
feel like that like just like you're about to say, that applies to so many areas of life.
Yeah, just like I was going to go on this tangent about like when I had to learn English, I gave myself such a hard time. Like I could have, I go, that's not, that Julio, that's not how you say it. Julio, it's not just good morning, Tony, how are you? It's good morning, Tony, how are you? What's going, so I would always know that I can't just throw a line at you because you're going to say something back and I better be prepared for that follow-up English conversation context. But when I got to see my friends take Spanish 101, they weren't giving themselves such a complicated, they were just going, Julio, ¿cómo estás? Me llamo Tony.
Yeah.
That's all I know. And
Te gusta, something.
Right? ¿Dónde está el baño?
Yeah.
I was just like, wow, just a few lines in Spanish was enough to give them the confidence to engage in a conversation with someone who does speak fluent Spanish. And also, as long as you say, buenos días, me llamo Tony, that was such a icebreaker that when you do tell me that's all you know, it's actually good enough.
Yeah.
And now you've changed the disposition of our conversation, of our mutual understanding. So I said, people just need that como te llamas, me llamo Tony version of a salsa confidence to get on that dance floor and just say, 1, 2, 3, 5, 6, 7. That's all I know.
That is a very philosophical response. Like that, I really appreciate that. That's a very nuanced, well articulated. Like you have thought deeply about that. Well, you're the salsa ambassador, but I really appreciate the levels and the nuance of that. Bravo.
Well, Tony, 1, 2, 3.
What is it? 5, 6, 7.
You build on that.
That's
though.
right. That's right. Wow. Okay, so you've been doing this for 20 years. What would you want people? What have you learned from this? Like, what have you learned about humanity from this? What have you learned about? Like, you walk away. What's 20 years of this? What do you walk away saying? Yeah, I really learned this, either about myself or the world.
Okay. Great question. I think I'm still trying to, and I say this humbly, I'm still trying to figure out what it is that I've learned
Yeah.
compared to what it is that I've learned about others, right?
Mm.
I was 23 when I came out of the Navy, 24. I'm 45 now.
Okay.
What I have learned about what I do is that, one, it's not how well I dance, it's how well do I make people feel included in what's going on.
Yeah.
So where an entertainer would come in and like perform for you and you would clap for me, or I'm doing something, and because initially I thought,
did you go through that season?
I went through that role because I thought my job was to say, hey everybody, my name is Julio Barrenzuela, I'm going to get you to salsa, come on Tony, come on,
and just almost spill over from your energy that they would
that is, I think that's cookie cutter. I think that I'm so excitable that I'm going to get you out of.
Yeah.
It's when I thought back, and my mother helped us a lot because she's watching what's going on. She's watching people, and she would tell me, we'd have a lot of conversations about it, and she'd say, Julio, Tony who didn't get up the whole time was actually smiling the whole time. He never left the room. And that made me then go, what does it mean to have participated in this? Does it mean that you were up on your feet, or does it mean you didn't leave the room? So that became initially my way of appreciating how people enjoy the moment. Some enjoy by doing, some enjoy by watching, some enjoy by, not being pushed out of their comfort zones. So one of the first things that I've learned was appreciating and respecting people's comfort zones. Because a motivational speaker will tell you that everything exciting is outside of your comfort zone. I think for someone like myself, who actually was intimidated oftentimes by sports, I can respect that sometimes people need to acknowledge how much work it has taken for this comfort zone to even be considered comfortable in the first place. So I sometimes articulate to people, I go, look, I don't know how long it's taken you to get to where you are right now in terms of comfort. And who am I to just walk in here today and say that's not good enough?
Right.
So I'll meet you where you are. You're sitting down, Tony, let me grab a chair. We'll start from the comfort of your comfort zone. Because the idea being that by the time I leave, we've increased it a little bit. So whatever's going to happen today, enjoy it from the comfort of your comfort zone, include it into it, because the goal is for you to have expanded just that much without ever having to leave it. And it's counterintuitive. The minute I sit down, people in the room who are very hesitant to have gotten up, to be in their minds ridiculed based on their dancing, they acknowledge that if they can do the cha-cha-cha from their chair or the salsa from their chair, then it's their idea to get up.
And it gives them permission, as you said, just a little bit more to push that envelope. As you were saying that, though, I do, like, the thought that came through my mind was 20 years of doing this, we live in a very crappy world where people do crappy things. I wonder if salsa dancing and the salsa ambassador has healed people from trauma, like that little micro permissions along the way of, I never thought I could do this, and now I am, and like almost seeing themselves, like I could see it being healing in some way.
It very much is, and I think that one of the things that I have tried to make sure that I remember is, one, because my audience is one morning a school, so we're talking age kids, kids from sometimes kindergarten all the way through 12th grade. I've been to colleges. I've done it with adults. I've done it with all ages. So I'm looking for something that it's not just what kids do compared to what seniors do. The idea of the comfort zone, for example, didn't come out of how do I get Tony as an adult to enjoy this. It came out of me having the realization that when I went to the nursing home, I didn't expect any of those ladies to jump out of their wheelchair and start dancing for me to say, yeah, you did it.
Yeah.
So why would I go to adults who can physically stand and expect the same? Because they may not be in a wheelchair, but in their mind and their heart, they are very much limited to it. Yeah. So I'm applying the same kind of expectations. And that expectation is, as long as you don't leave the room, you'll be able to leave here, and even if you spend the whole time sitting down, you can look at your colleague, the next time and be like, hey, man, that was fun, right? Yeah, 1, 2, 3, 5, 6, 7. And no one's ever going to say, but Tony, you didn't dance though.
Right.
You were part of this experience. Now you're you're part of the world of salsa. So I've been trying to play on the best medium to get this important message out is entertainment.
Yeah.
So the reason I'm the salsa ambassador is because, one, I get to stay in the world of salsa where it's fun. Let me share something with you that maybe you haven't allowed yourself to, maybe hasn't come through, your life. But by the time I leave, I welcome you to, if you're ever at a party, now you know how to sit there the whole night and actually just enjoy it and not have somebody say, hey, Tony, you don't know what's going on. Tony, come on, dance. You're like, no, it's okay, 5, 6, 7.
Right, 5, 6, 7.
As long as I don't dance. 5,
I like that. 1, 2, 3, 5, 6, 7.
Wouldn't you? I argue that if there has been a benefit to this, it's different. A lady at a nursing home left the room today. A gentleman from the nursing home, decided to come out of the room. So the activity directors have always told me, Julio, this lady or this man has never, and now they do. And I think the change in their disposition is great. But the same is applied to a kid in high school. There are so many anecdotes that I have collected over 20 years.
Oh, I don't doubt that.
But the one memory that I have, and it's very beautiful, is my mother and I were walking into the fairgrounds. Anything that I do while I'm in Springfield, I will always include my mom, because my mom and I, we've developed this as a team, right? So my mom has her role, and I have my role, and I respect her role in it. That's why a lot of the opportunities that I've had to experience Springfield in this capacity, because my mom to me is it's not just my mother, she's my friend. And I want her to have that kind of mentality as she ages. I want her to also, remind herself to always enjoy the moment. But the one memory we have is we're walking into the state fair, and there was a little kid with her mom, and this little girl goes, Mommy, that's Julio. Julio came to my school. We did the salsa with Julio. She was really excited, and I waved, and so her mom's like, oh, really? And then her mom looks at the daughter and goes, well, I did the salsa with Julio too. He came to my job the other day. And I was like,
wow.
So I was like, oh, yes, hi, yeah. And then out of the corner, her grandma comes out of her wheelchair. Is that Julio?
This was all at the state fair?
That was all the state
fair. All
as
you're walking
in one moment, one family.
Wow.
And they all had that salsa with Julio experience. And I think for me, my mom was like, hey, I think that's what's beautiful, right? So I don't know if
bridges a lot of gaps in generations.
Yeah. So I continue to do this as like I said, I think this is a job that I can do even as I get older myself.
Yeah.
Because it doesn't require me to be able to dance well.
Okay.
I'm not the best dancer, but I hang out with them, and I can appreciate that.
Is there a best salsa dancer in the world?
I've been exposed to so much nuance on that. There are World Salsa Championships, right?
Oh. Have you ever been to one?
I've had a chance to go to some of those contests.
Okay.
And they do a lot of them.
Have you been on them?
Oh, no.
No.
And I can't. I don't have that mentality, man.
Okay.
For example, I have a driver's license.
Yeah.
But I don't race cars, right?
Yeah.
So two different things.
I can understand that. Yeah.
One is for social, and I think the minute my mind switches to performance, I could never really do the work that I do.
Yeah. Thank you for that. I really appreciate that about learning the world of salsa and how it just interacts into all these different communities and the work you're doing here. That I really appreciate that.
Thanks, and I appreciate. Thanks for keeping me in the focus
salsa
here.
world. Yeah, the salsa lane. We kept that.
The salsa lane.
But I do want to talk about also the Latin culture in Springfield, because that's a passion that many share but want to push it forward. So talk to me a little bit about what's happening in the Latin culture here. Is there a Latin culture? Is it blossoming? What can we do to... Have you had conversations about it?
Well, before 2020, my experience with the Latin culture in Springfield would be that of coming by to visit, seeing all of them at the salsa party, hanging out with my family, which is Peruvian, and our friends. And I didn't really see any problems or any needs in our community because everyone looked fine to me, right?
Mm-hmm.
I think as a community, if we were to say the Latin culture embedded within the Springfield culture, which is its own culture,
Right.
there it's too nuanced to like say
Got you.
because there could be a Colombian in Springfield
Yeah.
who's having the best of Springfield's. They have the education, they have
Yeah.
their papers, for lack of better words. They have a great job, they live like the best version of themselves, right? They're proud to be Colombian. They're celebrating their Independence Day, July 20th, for example. So like,
Yeah.
but then you have a Colombian who was on the complete other side of not just the social spectrum, but they're not able to come out and be part of Springfield as one would want to, because they're either working in the kitchen and whether it's Mexican, Guatemalan, Peruvian, Chilean. So I've had a chance to hang out with both of those, social spectrums, and I think it's not special to the Latin culture, to the Latin community, But I think in Springfield we don't have, I don't think any negativity towards the Latino community, and that's something that is very tangible. I can, everywhere I go, it's always how do we create a better, a better environment so they can engage and also I've come to appreciate that not all the assistance, for lack of better words, for this community require food or humanitarian assistance. Some could be access to education, employment opportunities, access to resources, both in the lower, middle, and higher levels of the economic spectrum. So what kept me in Springfield, as beyond the salsa need, was seeing how my Latino community has all of these different sub needs. Like some are the business owners, the Latino, and they need different assistance than their employees. And then there are those who are they've reached a professional limitation. Like, and I'll give you 3 examples of those. So I have friends who are from Chile, from Colombia, from Peru, who have professional degrees in their country. But because they came here, their degree needs to be transferred over, and they were never able to do that. So because they weren't able to transfer their degree over, they're now limited in their employment capacity. So they're not able to be a dentist. They have to be within the dentist. They can be a dentist assistant, but not the dentist.
Right.
I have people that can really help with mental health because they have those degrees, but we don't have the certification for that. Now they're Latino. They don't need paperwork. They don't need anything with immigration. But they need that, and that sometimes it gets elusively lost. So my interest in Springfield was, how do I help that individual to the degree that I maybe can try to change legislation if possible. But also, how do I make sure that there is someone who just arrives here from the border, who is just trying to make sure that they get their driver's license, because we're a state where you can. They should take advantage of that. But also, it's interesting because their children are born here sometimes, but because they are in an environment where it's very much an undocumented community, they themselves are growing up as if they themselves are undocumented. So we need social workers to be able to to let the young people know that they are Americans, but they're very so. That is a whole different profession that wasn't the angle I was at. I was going with my career, but it really touched my heart and has kept me here for the last 5 years.
Wow, that's a whole nother podcast. I mean, that's a massive conversation, and one that I think we'll have to have at another time for sure, because it's important. I mean, it's important that people feel welcomed, and that the papers that they get from the university can transfer here so that they can better their life. And I mean, it's this massive system. We've had a number of people from other countries here on this show, and one of the things that really broke my heart was it takes 15 years to become a naturalized citizen here in America, and that is just, if I had my life and I could redo it all over again, I probably would give my life to that, is breathing life into that system, because that's outrageous. 15 years to become a citizen, like, that just isn't, that's not a workable system.
Well,
It's just not.
you know, I think there are more qualified people than me, for example, to get into the topic of immigration. But I can tell you that in Springfield, we are blessed that there are, and this is different than just 5 to 10 years ago. We have Latino organizations that can help with the immigration issues, the social work issues. There's various. There's the Hispanic Women of Springfield. There's this, Scion, which is the Springfield Immigrant Advocacy Network. There's IMC, which is the Illinois Migrant Council. There was Cielo. There's, if I'm forgetting any, but one thing is, before that, we didn't have but one, if anything. But what is different for me is acknowledging that immigration, the issue itself, over the past 40, 50 years, in America has changed. First, immigration was housed under, for example, the Labor Department, because the conversation of immigration was always around bringing people over to work. So it just made sense that it would go there. Then it was transferred, to the Justice Department, and then it gets transferred to, Homeland Security.
Homeland Security.
So as the generations and governments change, it's gone from just an employment conversation to a criminalization and law enforcement issue. So when I hear people talk about immigration, always within the context of either breaking or not breaking the law, it's really disconnected from the initial spirit of that conversation, which was the opportunity to come here, whether it was to work or to create a better life for yourself and your families, which is something that I think I've always felt like that's where it was housed, and for some reason it got moved. So just the energy around that topic is so different.
Oh, it's the energy around immigration is it. Well, it's been it's just a harsh conversation because it's so polarized.
And I can tell you, as a South ambassador, I the reason that I do what I do is because it allows me to not be politically divisive. So when someone says, who are you, like, who do you caucus with? The South, the Republican Party or the Democratic Party? I caucus with the Salsa Party.
I'm with the Suavemente.
That's right. And because, and let your audiences know, my goal is to actually showcase the best part of Latin culture in a way that people can enjoy it.
Yeah.
It can be filtered differently than if we're talking policy. And I think what it does, it allows people to enjoy Latin culture, the one piece. I mean, as if a culture in general has, like I said, their traditions, their food, this is the one piece, their music and their dance. And if they can enjoy that, if they can appreciate it as they're able, that then allows them to then go to, someone does speak Spanish, and like I said, interact with them. And I learned that what creates, or what would be a good global education curriculum is a global education curriculum provides you with three things: a positive disposition towards cultural difference, the ability to interact in a second language, and knowledge of the world around you. So when I create these opportunities for people, I give them a micro version of that. I change the way they're seeing, salsa in relationship to them, so they can have when they hear, Latin music next time, their initial reaction is that memory instead of just, I don't do that. Second, when I say 1, 2, 3, you say
5, 6, 7.
That is our mutual language, because it'd be difficult to learn the second language on the spot. And then the knowledge of the world around you and the curiosity behind it is, if I then tell you I'm from Peru, or better yet, when someone meets someone at a salsa or a Latin dance, and they say, hey, where are you from? I'm from Peru or Venezuela or Colombia. There may be a curiosity behind that. And I might, especially if I meet, a young woman from Colombia, and I'm like, Google Colombia now, because now I'm thinking, like, when the next time I meet her, I want to impress her. So can that happen?
Colombia.
Claro, oh my amigo. So being that I was raised in Springfield, I can tell you, there's no better tool to promote a positive disposition towards someone else's culture
Yeah.
than this kind of genuine interaction. So I specialize in creating these moments 1 hour at a time,
Cool.
no matter where I go.
I love it, man. Well, I'm really glad you dropped by. Do you have anything else you want to say about the salsa ambassadorship? Salsa, the world of salsa?
Well, no, I'm very thankful for the invitation.
Yeah.
Again, I try to make sure that I'm always learning as to, is this something that I'm doing, again, for myself? I have a great time dancing anywhere I go. I dance 1 hour at a time, though. It's like the energy that I have. I give it, But more importantly, the reason that I do what I do is because I have seen how much validation it gives people.
Yeah.
And if you're that, 10-year-old who's currently shy, and if you never get the chance to do Latin dance at 10, then you'll be that 80-year-old that's still a little shy. So what I try to do is I try to, meet people where they are right now.
Yeah.
Somehow bring this idea to others that to enjoy salsa, you should just enjoy it as you're able. I tell them on their feet, in their chairs, or on the tables. Some people, some people don't need permission to dance.
Yeah.
They just
They're
you just play the
already
music.
doing it.
And I'll give you.
Yeah.
I'll leave with this. I did a presentation for Compass for Kids.
Yep.
A couple of weeks ago, and I've learned, and it reaffirmed to me that the kids who didn't necessarily want to dance, which again, whether it's a kid or a senior or an adult, the minute I play their music, because I flipped it on them, it's like, okay, that's the music I like, but I realized some of you, it's not that you're not dancers, it's just that I'm not playing your song.
Yeah.
So what song is that? And they gave me some. They got on the floor. They were doing some sort of, I don't know, it looked like a seal.
Like the worm?
The worm, something like
worm.
that. And I was like, wow, because that's the same thing that when I go to a retirement home, their song is the waltz. And
Yeah.
so I have the permission that I've allowed to have is I walk in and I'm able to create in 1 hour a change in people's disposition and it's how they view themselves in relationship to what's happening in that room, but also the relationship to what's happening outside of that around the world. So as a salsa ambassador, I tell them I'm not the king, I'm not the champion. I'm just here to invite you into a bigger world where people are shaking their hips,
I like that. I invite you into a bigger world where people are shaking their hips.
Just shake it, but don't break it.
That's good. Thanks for coming by, man.
It's mutual.